I just had the craziest thing happen to me. I had two giant bucks just come charging right at me chasing a doe.
Well, I tell you what, I think everybody just wants to hop to it. Let's start it off with go to northern Georgia on that most insane hunt. That was insane. I gotta ask, who was hunting? I mean, y'all got charged. Who was the person on the hunt?
I was. He was on the other side of the property from me, though.
And now, David, did you have to check your pants after you shot at that buck? Did you poop yourself?
Yeah, I might have a little bit after he came that close to me, yeah. My adrenaline was definitely rushing. I was blowing him up, calling him, because it was one of the craziest things I've ever had, hunting my entire life.
So how far were you when you shot at the buck?
He was probably about a foot or two in front of me.
All right, what was going on before we saw you shoot at him?
Yes, sir. I was sitting on the ground, just sitting up against a tree, and pretty much it happened very quickly. I just had a GoPro sitting on my head, and all of a sudden, up on this hill that was right next to me, I just heard a doe start blowing like crazy. So I didn't know if she was blowing at me, or something else. And then all of a sudden, within seconds, they all three come running down the hill, and they came down to me about 20, 30 yards and just ran straight at me. And all I had time was to do is just turn on my GoPro, and then they just came running straight at me. Had one buck come to my right, maybe about 4 or 5 feet, and then the big one that was our target deer came about a foot or two from me, and I just tried making a shot in the moment, and then he ended up taking off, running up the hill, and my heart was just racing, adrenaline was pumping. It was wild.
The biggest question that I think everybody's gonna want me to ask you, did you hit or miss that deer? Because you can't really tell.
I completely missed the deer. I, immediately checked my arrow, which was right in front of me afterwards. There was no blood on it at all. No hair even or anything. And then after I got done talking with him on the phone, I sat back down on my tree and just was, seeing if they'd come back, since obviously there was a hot doe in the area. And then probably an hour, maybe a little hour later, all of a sudden the same exact buck came walking down the hill, probably 60, 70 yards from me. And he just came walking down the valley, walking broadside. I mean, too far for me to want to shoot with the bow. But yeah, same deer, and he was completely fine. And then we also had a bunch of trail cam pictures of him later throughout that season. So,
Well, I'll just say this. I would venture to say that most hunters that I know would probably take the shot that you took in hopes that they make a great shot. And I don't know. It's a very touchy subject, and I know that you guys had to encounter a ton of comments, but we appreciate you sharing your hunt with Our Outdoors.